on the All That Remains album, the collaborations with Alter Bridges, Mark Tremonti, and Miles Kennedy came about because they happened to be recording an album of their own in the studio downstairs from where you were recording.
Yeah, that's true. We were at a place called Tree Studio in Atlanta, and it was funny because there's 3 rooms there. Mm-hmm. There's an upstairs room, which is kind of a normal size. That's where we were recording. There's a downstairs room, which is bigger. That's where Alter Bridge was recording. I believe it was their second record, maybe even their first. Then there was a whole huge wing where Elton John was recording this album. I think it's called The Red Piano. So we're recording some tunes, and always kind of like, when's Elton coming? We don't know. And so we were listening to some tracks, and there's a window, and this black SUV pulls up. Door opens. Here comes this short little fat guy in a black sweatsuit. It's like, oh, that's Elton. So I run out the door, and I run down the stairs, and it's kind of a maze, so I got a little bit lost and kind of get folded around. I kind of run around the corner just as the big studio door is closing. And I'm like, can I go in there and say hi? He's like, I'm sorry, it's a closed set. I'm like, but he just walked in there saying, I'm sorry, it's closed. I'm like, So I'm just kind of standing there, and then the door opens, and this guy walks out, and he's like, excuse me, do you know the address of the studio? I'm like, no, I don't work here. We're recording upstairs. And the secretary tells him the address. I'm like, I think I asked him, like, why? And he's like, well, Elton's hairdresser is coming, and he needs to know the address of the studio. And I'm like, well, are you guys shooting something today? Are you, like, filming something? Why is Elton needed? It's like, no. Elton has his hairdresser come in every day before the sessions. And I was like, oh, that's so rock and roll. Like, Elton John has to get his hair styled to record. And then the one day he wasn't there, we went in there, and there was like all these fresh flowers. And he apparently he got like $1,000 of fresh flowers a day to be able to record. And then another day we came in and they were sweeping up a bunch of dishes. He had an argument with his boyfriend, I think whoever, David, his boyfriend. And I guess he was just taking dishes out of the pantry, just like having a diva tantrum. And I was like, oh, that's so rock and roll. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, so answer your question. And then Miles, I'd known Mark for a while, and I'd asked him if he wanted to play a solo, and could never really get a hold of him. So I just walked downstairs and I knocked on the door, and they opened up. I'm like, hey, Mark, here's a tape of a song I want you to play on. If you got a chance, do the solo. And a day later, this wicked solo for a song that we did called The Way I Am. And then Miles sang backups on a song called Nameless Faces, which was awesome. So yeah, it was a pretty cool little studio that we had going on, little gang of idiots.
It's all great. The song "Enemy" is about former friends becoming enemies.
Yeah, Rich wrote that song. So I think he did write that about former band members that that you were really close friends with, and then just kind of become your enemy for no real apparent reason. You're not really sure why. You just kind of end up on the wrong side of the fence. But that's the interpretation that I've given it from singing it for the last 10 years.
Sure. And the video for that song apparently was banned from Headbangers Ball after just one showing.
It was.
Because the video depicted a disabled man climbing up a series of stairs and committing suicide by jumping off the top of the building.
Yeah, it was one of those things where the director's like, I got this vision, I got this idea, and there's a one-legged actor called Eddie, I can't remember his last name. He was like on Big Brother or something, like super cool guy. Like he ran faster than I could. Like he was just he had this, he could just go. So yeah, he was kind of in a wheelchair and he only had one leg, and the girl of his dreams had turned on him, become his enemy, and so he's just like he's trying to remember, like he's fighting for her memory, and he's crawling up the stairs like to get to the top of this building, and we're on top of the building playing, and it's like, oh, this is cool. Like he's showing some fire, like he's gonna get to the top of the building, and when he gets to the top of the building, he's gonna show the world that he can do anything and get the girl back. But when he gets to the top of the building, he just falls over the edge, and I was like, what? So that's what we did, and they banned it from MTV after one showing. And meanwhile, at the exact same time, Jay-Z had this video where he gets assassinated by gangsters' guns, and he's got blood packs. He's just like jib packs, blood everywhere. And I'm like, it's like Spinal Tap. Like, why can his video be shown and he's getting assassinated and dying in a bloodbath, and our guy has a guy who's like, throwing himself off a building? Well, what's the difference? Yeah. Well, the difference is Jay-Z and Fozzy, kind of a whole different.
Well, there's a meaningful story behind
there was, there was.
Too, really.
But yeah, so sometimes when you're in a band and you don't have as much control as you would like, certain ideas get floated your way, and you're like, well, I guess. I mean, it sounds good, and then you see it after, and you're like, not really sure what that was supposed to be getting at, but it's cool. So,
all right. In 2006. You appeared on the reality competition show Celebrity Duets.
Classic.
So you were eliminated first out of the 8.
It was funny. I auditioned for that show. They called me and said, we got this singing show. I was like, I don't want to do that. And then kept, keep pushing at you to do it. Same thing happened with Dance with the Stars, which was much more successful. But I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go audition. So you could choose 2 songs, and one of them was from a list that you had to choose, and one of them was you could choose whatever you want. So I did Enter Sandman, which was my choice, and I did a song called Spinning Wheel by Blood, Sweat, and Tears. What goes up must come down. It's kind of a cool rockin' song. It's got a little bit of balls to it. So I sang those 2 tunes, and I got the gig. So the first week I show up, I'm rock guy. I auditioned with Metallica. And the first week I get given a Willie Nelson song to sing with this country chick called Leanne Womack. And it's country. I was under the assumption we would get to choose our songs, but no, you have to sing this. Now Willie Nelson is like singing Bob Dylan or like singing Ozzy. It's very unique sounding.
Yeah. And
then to do it with this country chick who had no interest in singing whatsoever, it was not good. It was not a good. It was not a good pairing, shall we say? And then I got to sing with Peter Frampton, which was cool, and we had a pretty cool tune. But the best part about that was I got to hang out with Little Richard. Which was
please
the best.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's something everything, even if it goes awry, there's always something good that comes out of it. And Little Richard was one of the judges, and he had a crush on me, I'm sure, because he kept saying, "Oh, you got my toe raising, boy. My toe is raising in my boot, boy." And he's an Orthodox Jew or unorthodox Jew. I'm not sure which one it is, but the idea is he has to be home by sundown.
Yeah.
He can't be out in the dark. It's like a reverse vampire. So sometimes when we were doing the show, he would just be gone. He'd be 3 judges, and then he would disappear, and there'd be 2 judges. And it'd be like, where'd Little Richard go? Well, we had to go home. Orthodox Jew. But one day, he was at his piano just noodling. He still played, even though he basically he's on a canes or maybe even in a wheelchair at this point. It's huge makeup, crazy wig, Little Richard, man. Dude, come on, right? And he's at his piano just noodling around one day, and I was just kind of saying, "Come here, boy, go sing me some blues." And, I'm not a blues singer, but when you're sitting with Little Richard and he's doing little trills and you do little trills back, and I was like, fuck, dude, I'm jamming with Little Richard. Yeah. If I ever meet Paul McCartney, that's something he would be jealous of. It doesn't get any bigger than that. Most of these have been true, so whoever wrote, did you write this?
No.
Okay, well, whoever wrote it was pretty close.
If I wrote it, it'd be way weirder than this shit. In 2009, it says you were detained by police after a WWE live event when a woman spat on you, and then she accused you of hitting her, but then a video came out that clearly showed that you did not make
Well, not really. That's kind of the story, but what happened was I was the big bad guy in the company. People hated me. Mm-hmm. I worked this character so that people would want to kill me.
And you're doing old school heel, not breaking character.
No, never breaking character. I got the idea from Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men, the Coen Brothers movie.
Boy.
Very quiet and calm, but just this is the way it is. You remember he would flip the coin, and I'm sorry, I have to kill you. Boom. So I kind of took that same vibe, and people really bought into it. I never broke character, and I never did anything that people would want to chant along with or cheer with. It was real serious, dirty stuff. And we were in Victoria, BC, and what happened was there was a big crowd right around the parking lot. There was bad security, and I pulled out and stopped at a red light, and somebody came and kicked in my car door. And I was like, well, first of all, now I have to pay for the rent-a-car damage, and B, after the dime thing, anybody that gets too close, it's like, fuck that. So I opened the door, and I could see the guy was really drunk, and I thought that security would come. When I opened the door, nobody came, just people came, and I kind of got separated from the car, and this guy was coming in to kind of swing at me, so he came, and I ducked, and I grabbed him, and I just took him to the ground, and kind of pushed him to the ground, and then I started feeling like someone's trying to hit me in the ball bag, right? And it's a girl, and she's like, "You hit my boyfriend, and you're a piece of shit." And so I was like, "Okay, this is it, too much." So I get in my car, and she follows me in the car. So the first thing I think of is just "Oh," and she kind of recoils, and then she comes back again. So I push her back, right? Now people are filming this, of course, on their cell phones. No one's helping me; they're just filming and asking, "Can we have your autograph? Can we take a picture?" I'm like, "What the fuck? Do you see what's going on?" So here's the edge of the camera view, and here's the girl. And so when I come to push her, it looks like I'm going like this and go like that. So it looks like I'm hitting her in the face. You know what I mean? Ooh. Meanwhile, I'm just pushing her in the chest. So that video the next day gets to Nancy Grace, the lovely Nancy Grace, who puts it on the air and says, impeach Chris Jericho, hang him, kill him, murder him. We must get revenge. And it came out that those two people got charged for being drunk, and I was cleared of everything, and I was innocent, but of course there was no Nancy Grace piece going, well, Chris Jericho was innocent. Sorry. No. So I'm still waiting, Nancy. So if you're watching this, along with all the other people that we said, if you're in Casper, Wyoming watching this, call back. I want my apology, yo.
She's lovely.
Oh, she's a lovely person, isn't she?
2010, you and Gregory Helms, the Hurricane, you were arrested.
You got my rap sheet there? What the hell's going on?
Last arrest one. You were arrested in Kentucky after leaving a bar, and the police report says that Helms was punching you and other passengers in a cab that you were sharing. Fiction.
Just really drunk, and he gave me a punch, and it was like so stupid. So then the cab driver gets scared and pulls over on the side of the road and tells us all to leave and calls the cops. And we're standing in a parking lot, and the cops come up and arrest us, take us to jail, where we just have to go through the whole process to get out of jail, get charged with public intoxication, which, do you know how much the fine is for public intoxication?
In
the state of Kentucky?
Let's hear it.
$25.
Whew, all right.
I gave him $100 and said that's for the next 3 times. The best thing of all, though, is the night before Chasing the Grail came out, and everybody thought it was a publicity stunt. Like Eddie Trunk said, "Did you get arrested last night, or is this some kind of publicity stunt?" I was like, "Yeah, this is an Axl Rose publicity stunt." I knew the record was coming out. I had to get some extra press, so I got in a fight in a parking lot and got charged with public intoxication and let go. Minutes later. So. A lot of string. It was around the same time as the Victoria incident. So every time I was calling Vince McMahon, hey, I just got in trouble for fighting in a parking lot. Hey, I just got charged with public intoxication, $20 fine. Like I was just waiting for one to just go, don't ever come back, please. But he always had my back. So
yeah. And you've said many times the Hurricane's one of your favorite road partners.
Yeah. It's just really drunk and just stupid stuff. So. Yeah. Stuff that happens on the road, man. When you're on the road, whether it's wrestling or rock and roll, it's like sometimes you lose your mind. It's hard being on the road, and whenever alcohol gets involved, it's a party. But sometimes people get hit, and sometimes you get charged with public intoxication.
Last one. I wanted to end this on a very good note.
Okay.
Happy note.
Well, I hope so. You've said I was dead.
Yeah.
You've dug up all my arrests.
Yeah.
You've brought up celebrity duets, where I was the first one kicked off. I mean, is there anything positive in this stupid Wikipedia in here? Can you say that Sandpaper was #1 on rock radio, or can you say that
Sandpaper is in the Loudwire Cage Match Hall?
That's right. There you go. Thank you.
All right.
I forgot about that. That's awesome.
While eating in a Japanese restaurant in Tampa, Florida, Chris Jericho met his future wife Jessica through fellow WCW employee, and here's the kicker, the Disco Inferno.
Kind of true. We were at a sushi restaurant run by this guy called Joe Gomez, who used to also be in the WCW, and she was there with her friends, and I was there with mine, and Disco knew her from Disco used to date her best friend, so Disco actually introduced us. So Disco Inferno introduced me to my wife, and here's the kicker. There's always another story with Jericho, right? I was there with Raven.
Oh, yeah.
Not the band Raven, the wrestler Raven. I wish I was there with the band Raven. It would have been much more fun. But Raven and I used to play good cop, bad cop. And I would always be the super nice guy, and he would always be the blatant asshole. Now, girls go for one or the other, like the bad boy, or they like the nice guy, right? So we were playing good cop, bad cop, and Raven was playing bad cop to Jessica, and it was like, wanted her to come with him to a strip club. And he's like, just let's go to the strip club. And I was like, if she goes with Raven, there is no way I'm ever calling this girl again. And meanwhile, she's thinking, there is no way I'm going to the strip club with Raven unless Chris goes.
Oh.
But basically, I said, I'm not going to the strip club. She's like, well, I don't want to go either. I was like, okay, pass the first test. So that was it. So we got through, Disco introduced us, and then got through the Raven obstacle. And we're still married to this day.
Awesome. Perfect. See, I told you it would end happy.
It was good, man. Yes. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Right. Thank you so much. I
Thanks,
appreciate
dude.
you coming by, as
My
always.
pleasure.